Hello and welcome everyone to the Reven Cast. We are back again with, I would say, some okay stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's decent. There's some decent news.
enough to want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I am Actual Des, and of course, I am joined by a Panda Sniper,
Hello.
and we have a couple things to talk about. First things first, I do want to uh, kind of shout out one of the community members. I'm going to minimize this and I'm going to bring up emotes. So these emotes are actually done by, I'm going to butcher their name, Aloyone?
Yeah, I mean I don't know if it's pronounced Aloyone or Alloy I1,
Yeah.
like separate words, but yeah.
But
Regardless, very talented.
these are the emotes created by them, and I'm using them because I don't know their pronouns. But they made some emotes. They got more that kind of they're working on the side. But these emotes are great. I'm like slightly biased because they're Sakara ones, and they're all three of them are great. Yeah, there they are. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
love
are pretty good.
I love those. Those are just sketches though. They aren't
There's
like
even
fully.
more.
Yeah, there's more. There's a Bulwark one. There's the Ona Lurk one. I actually like that one a lot. Like all these are just fantastic. Wanted to show them off in a Revencast episode.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm a big fan generally of just like I like collecting stuff, in games,
mhm.
and like I'm just a big fan of like emotes, voice lines, titles, like and especially emotes because they show like personality. Like
Absolutely. Uh,
it's very fun, and it just adds fun. That's fun.
it adds fun, which is very important for a game.
Yeah, and they're
But
not terribly like difficult to do.
yeah, um, but yeah, they have more they're working on. Don't know really like what they are or anything. Um, but yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to Alloy. These emotes are great. Keep it up, doing awesome, and appreciate you allowing us to share it with the Revencast.
Hell yeah.
And I look forward to seeing more of these emotes because again, I saw the Sakara ones. I jumped out of my chair, not actually, but I very much enjoyed them. Being a Sakara simp. Um, but with that out of the way, I actually don't think I have it saved in my OBS, but we have another uh, topic of discussion. We have concept art for Valkyrie. So there was concept art before, but this is like more recent concept art for Valkyrie. The first thing that comes to my mind, these colors are amazing.
Yeah.
I love the use of these colors. The freaking one, I'm a fan of orange, but the orange, the blue, like the like pinkish, like red flame here on the Valkyrie's head. It's just like I just love the colors. Like
Yeah, I will say like the thing that I like the most and this ties into the color thing, but really is just that like the code name for so long has been Valkyrie, and I don't actually know if the devs put this code name out, but at some point it was just colloquial whatever that word is, generally referred to as Valkyrie. And this is so different than what you would think of like a normal, Valkyrie. Like you would think like uh some sort of like warrior angel, and like very much white, pure gold, silver, type colors, and in the general just like one pair of wings, with a spear still. But this is just like, dude, the colors pop. She's got two pairs of wings, which just add like extra depth. She's got four arms. She's like holding a flaming spear. She's got flame. It's just like, it's such a cool twist on the concept, right? Like you can clearly look at it and see inspiration, but it's still very much different.
Yeah.
Which is what's great about like Reven Blade's art style in general.
Yeah, very different. You could probably see some similarities, but the the majority of it is just like original, you
Yeah.
know. And also like looking at the the front and back shot is because I was wondering about one of the arms. Just you got like it's kind of a I don't know flamethrower it's like it's the lower left arm, like
Yeah.
our left. And then I looked at the front and back profile, and no, that's just what the arm is. I thought it was like some sort of special like effect that they just decided to like draw, but nope, that's an arm. So,
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see like what her kit is because she has, obviously she has the spear, she has the wings, so we like can assume that she fly or does stuff in the air. But she has that crazy flame arm, which I assume is going to relate to ability, and she also is holding like the blue orb, like a little
yeah,
blue orb that looks like it has other little orbs circling it.
yeah.
So, and there's like a blue and orange one again. Not sure if it's just thematic, and they're like, "Hey, it'd be cool if she holds this," or like, is
It
that
would
one
be
of her
cool if she holds
abilities?
this.
I don't know. It's just it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see if all of the details in the concept art tie into the kit.
Yeah, so like we don't have a lot of information like about this. We literally just have this concept art.
Yeah.
And I believe uh I don't know if I can actually say, but like there's a lore reason, potentially a lore reason for the orb in the hand there.
Yeah, but we don't know. Potentially.
Yeah, we don't really know what that is. But again, don't know if I can say it might be tied to lore, right? But I don't know. I'm excited to like have this character in our hands. You know.
Yeah, I wanna play him. I'm not gonna lie, Des, and you might just end the podcast with me, but I wanna play them more than Sakaro.
You know, I'll have to let this slide
All right, cool.
because I don't have a choice in the matter. Let's see. I also do have the old concept art for Valkyrie to kind of show as a sort of like comparison, and it's like it's night and day. Like, yeah, it's night and day.
Yep.
Because you have more of the angelic kind of theming here with this version of Valkyrie. A shorter spear, not even like an elemental spear kind of thing, just like some weird like technical spear, I guess is one way to put it. Like actual wings and more more humanoid, not as like some other being.
Like ethereal.
Yeah, like
Yeah, exactly. This screams like standard Norse mythology, Valkyrie, where it's just warrior women with wings that are badass. Which like still badass, but the new art is awesome.
Yeah, like it is it's like that meme. This is brilliant, but I like this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally I'm gonna make that a meme later. But
Do it.
but yeah, no, this is great. And this is what we were kind of expecting for Valkyrie. And then we got the updated concept art, and it's like this is just wow. This is just more exciting, interesting. Like it just adds more excitement, I think, to put it into words.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that. There's just the comparison there. All we have is the concept art for this character, and I don't know, just excited.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see where they go. I wonder how modeling that is going to be. Like that.
I mean, Kraken looks pretty good in game, and I thought he would be harder to model. So
that is fair.
Yeah.
Also, I am just going to keep the Valkyrie concept on the screen for the rest of the podcast because it's just easier that way.
Sure.
But also, everyone who's just coming in, first of all, welcome. Thank you for being here. but also they could just see the art itself. Also, kind of talk about a bit more of like the pieces on the side. I wonder if those are like, I don't know, different forms, or like maybe they're thresholds. Like the top is, base, and then if you get a certain amount of, I don't know, kills or something, your helm transforms as you keep going. Don't really know, but these just look sick. I love the bottom one. The bottom one just looks
Yeah,
really cool to me.
I kind of wrote these off as just alternate head ideas, but looking at the fact that like the concept art and the front and back sketch have the same exact thing,
Mm-hmm.
but then yeah, no, it does look like it is some sort of
It could be
like
like a sort of,
progression.
yeah, like an evolution.
Yeah, yeah,
Which is which is a possibility. I think also your like thought is valid, because they could just be experimenting with like what
if
they
she
think would look good.
if she's like if it is just alternate art, and they should go with number 3. Like
Agreed.
a faceless Valkyrie was just like that would be so sick. That would be so sick.
Yeah, because like the feeling we get from this art is just more of like a deity, like a godlike
Yeah.
being. So I think number 3 just fits the theme more.
Yeah.
I hate number 2. I don't. I
Honest opinions from Des.
okay. I hate's probably a strong word, but like it's definitely my least favorite out of the 3. Like I don't know. It just looks a little weird to me. I don't know what it is.
That's the one she's wearing in the art.
And the front to back.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just my least favorite. But number 3, awesome. Number 1, good. Number 2, would like it without, but can live with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is just great. So thank you, Mocha, for allowing us to discuss this on the podcast. Just thought it was something really cool to talk about and discuss, share with the community and stuff. And yeah, like that. That's just dope as fuck.
Yeah.
Now, believe it or not, we're going to move to the main topic of today's episode, and that is the steps to beta that Medallion Slate is taking, or more so laying out, because they're just laying out these steps towards like a beta, open beta kind of thing. So the first thing to kind of talk about going from top to bottom with this list is that there will be tests that are less frequent than like the old weekly open play tests that they used to have about a year or so ago. But they are wanting to keep a consistent schedule with this. They're thinking every couple weeks, maybe at least once a month, and just try to be a bit more consistent with the playtests.
Yeah. I think most games in like this state, at least that I've been a part of in terms of developing, not me in terms of developing, but like seeing, the beta, and while they're actively being worked on stuff, typically go a route that's more similar to what Mocha is laying out here, where you kind of I don't particularly like calling this a beta, but that's just because of popular word choices. I would still hesitantly call this an alpha, but anyway, I definitely like the idea of frequent play tests, and frequent as in, well, I guess frequent's the wrong word, consistent play tests that are open and advertised, because although technically like we can play whenever because of the way the custom servers work, but and you can play offline, it's a lot easier to drum up hype for your game and like get constructive feedback and stuff like that when when it is consistent, and you know that every month you can count on people to show up, like the last Saturday of every month there will always be a playtest, right? And it gives time for one to make significant changes in between the periods of downtime, and actually like iterate on the game, because I think before when we did this, 2 weeks was not enough time,
Hmm.
perhaps for the majority of the players to like feel the difference, especially if work was back end work where we don't really feel it as the player base. And two, just like enough time for the players to get bored. Like, a lot of people do, like, there is exclusivity of a game only being playable one day a month. And people want to play it that day.
Hmm.
um so yeah, no, solid change overall. Looking forward to it, excited to play.
Yeah, kind of just adding on to that, like, because I definitely think if you were to just kind of limit the, like, when you do the play test and just make it available for a certain amount of time, that is going to make people think, oh, maybe I should try this out, because I'm gonna have to wait like another month for
Right.
to play the game, so maybe I should try it now, and then if I think it's okay but could be better now, maybe it'll be better a month later, so they come back. It's a way to like try to have people keep coming back to the game and
Yeah.
just getting more eyes on the game generally. um, so I do think this change could be good for the game, good for development, because at the end of the day, it's a test. You got to get all kinds of data that you can possibly use for the game's development, so the more eyes and more new people you get into the game will help you with that.
Yeah, and I think too, like, the one of the hardest things that I've seen game developers struggle with, especially like smaller indie devs, is the new player experience. Because usually it's really, I don't want to say easy because that makes this sound kind of bad, but
Mhm.
generally people that like your game will stick around. Um, and it's really easy to get consistent feedback from them, but at some point their feedback does become like tainted in a way where it's like, they've been playing the game so long, they're in the community for so long that they forget what it's like to be a new player, someone that's not in the community.
Mhm.
And so like consistently onboarding new people so you can get that new player feedback is really hard to do. It's very hard to consistently find people that are willing to try your game and then also give you good constructive feedback on top of that.
Yeah,
So anything that helps do that, massive.
yeah. New player experiences, like new players giving feedback, is just as important as veteran players giving feedback.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe this could help with onboarding new players, but we'll just have to see how they actually structure it. Because again, we don't know anything. We just kind of have these steps that are laid out for what they want to do, not necessarily
Right.
what they're going to do.
Going to do. Right.
So yeah, the next step is that each playtest will be longer. Then they specify between several hours or a full day, which is a jump from the previous open tests, where they generally were like an hour, hour and a half, roughly. Um, so with these tests being longer, to up to a full day of play, is actually pretty impressive. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of like back end work that needs to be done to like fulfill that. I'm not a tech person. I have an IQ of 5. I don't fucking know, but I that just sounds like something that could be strenuous for the back end. Um, and I don't know, I think the more time you have for the game to be available just gives you more time to get the feedback that you need.
Yeah. The hardest part for this is going to be figuring out the sweet spot, because the longer that it's open, the if you have 100 players that are just gonna play and it's open for 12 hours, those 100 players might be split across that 12 hours. So like your chances of finding good balanced games are going to be lower than if your playtest is only open for 8 hours and you still have 100 people playing, right? It's just going to be finding like what's the optimal time frame to have a test open for, to make sure that you're consistently finding matches, consistently gathering this data,
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. And I have zero clue what that number could be. like literally none. I have no idea if like a full 24 hours, like if you have games running the entire time and they're relatively balanced, then why not, right?
Mhm.
But I have no idea. My gut says around 12, but again, I
Yeah, we'll just have to see like
yeah,
where it goes.
yeah,
But I mean, virtually the more time that you give people, the better it is, like in the long
yeah,
run.
yeah.
Um,
More time for people to queue.
exactly.
Best two changes right here.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's a lot of good changes, but
Spoilers.
yeah, the
So
juicy stuff.
the third step, the matches will only be 5v5, no more 12v6,
Oh
8v4.
no, no more fucking 9v9s.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So yeah, the two of
I mean,
us who have played these open play tests, because I'm sure some people who are new to the game, just now like tuning into the Reven Cast, just never really played in these open play tests. It was very chaotic to
yeah.
have for it to be open and no set limit to so you would have these 9v9 games and the games just wouldn't fucking end.
Yeah, it was honestly some of the best fun I've ever had playing mage in these matches because all of her stuff is AoE. You can get like fucking I forget what the record was.
You could
Someone
get
had
like
like 50
100,000
kills. Yeah,
damage,
yeah, like people had absurd amounts of kills in these matches.
kills
Um,
and damage. Yeah,
but but it is like it's so awkward when you have 18 people, right? Because the game is 5v5. So you run one 5v5 server. Well, now you have a 4v4 in the other lobby. And like 4v4 is playable, but like doesn't feel right, especially when you're playing 5v5. And so then like somebody leaves the 4v4 because now you have a 4v3 because it doesn't feel good. And but if you put everybody into the one game and it's a 9v9, like I mean that doesn't really feel like good either because now it's basically just team deathmatch. You're not playing the game mode, you're just fucking around.
you're just running around and killing each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is like a really, really tricky thing to balance, which I think at that stage of the game, the devs did a considerable job doing. But yeah, I am very happy that we will only have to play 5v5s from now on.
Yeah, and again with it being, like 7v8, 9v9, this kind of stuff, like it makes data gathering a lot harder because you don't know if like there's one thing wrong. You don't really know if it's necessarily like a design problem or it's because you had
Yeah.
five other people doing this
Yeah.
thing or whatever. So like it's not cohesive enough information to really go off of.
Yeah. Like
Um,
how like a really easy example is like our respawn timer is too long. Well, if you're in a
yes,
9v9, then there's more players. So you're more likely to die often, but you're also more likely to get more kills. So when you're dead, you feel bad because you're not doing as much, but you're only doing as much because it's a 9v9. So it's like this weird like cycle where, anybody that plays a 9v9 is like, well, I feel like I was dead half the game. Like, well, you might have been, but if it was a 5v5, you would have only been dead, I don't even know, 30% of the game, 20% of the game, if that. But they're going to complain that the respawn timers are too long because they want to be alive more. So yeah, like just to your point, it does make accurate data gathering really hard.
yeah. And on to the next point. So while waiting for a match, there will be a sort of like free for all or TDM like waiting lobby, and I feel this is pretty common. Like Overwatch has done this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a nice thing to just do while you're waiting,
Yeah.
like waiting in queue. You just kind of jump in to like this lobby with other people. You're just fucking around, testing abilities, and again to kind of continue that point, it gives you opportunities to test the character before playing the match itself.
Right.
So if you're playing Layla and you're like, I've never played this character before, you have this opportunity to run around in this little lobby and test out your abilities, read your abilities,
Yeah.
what have you.
You have a low stakes environment that's like a sandbox low stake environment. You can kind of just do whatever you want.
Yeah, like you just have basically as you queue, you have a practice range more or less.
Yeah.
to try out things, and I think that's good. Like I feel like more games that are like Reven Blade should do something like this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know Overwatch statistic numbers, but
Mm-hmm.
I do know that it was very big when it was added to Overwatch, and it it just makes waiting in queue feel so much worse, or sorry, so much better.
I was like,
Like
whoa.
no, like Valorant doesn't have this. You can't
Mm.
go into a practice range, you can't do anything while you're waiting for queue. You just have to sit there and browse the menu, and it just feels bad because you want to play the game, but you can't play the game. You know,
To honestly, I think
so
it's a bit different for a game like Valorant. Like I personally think for Valorant that's whatever. Because I'll just like I'll just like browse the internet or something on my phone or my
I
computer
mean,
while I wait. You know, like
poor argument. You can do that in Reven Blood.
I mean, sure, but with I don't know. I just find it would feel different because like when I actually played Overwatch, I never like browsed the internet or anything. I always hopped on and like fucked around in like a freaking TDM lobby or something. Like I never was like, oh, I'm queuing. Better put up fucking YouTube and let me just watch these videos while I wait.
I mean, yeah, sure, but that's how you felt about Overwatch. How I feel about Valorant a lot of the times,
I
where
mean,
it's like
sure.
I just want to like if I'm gonna be waiting, you might as well throw me into a deathmatch queue where I can just shoot at other people. You know, it very limited. Like doesn't really cost you a lot from a company perspective, and it increases the players by a lot. So big change. If I had to nitpick, and I'm gonna nitpick this because it's involved related to a server browser, and I'll say this until the day that I die.
God fucking damn it.
My if my dream is that with all of these changes, there is some sort of server browser added when you can just click play, it automatically spins up a server for you. Don't even have to worry about it, right? You get thrown into one of these lobbies where it's like a free for all or a deathmatch. But additionally, players have the option to go to a server browser and they'll be able to see, oh, this lobby has 4 out of 5, or yeah, 4 out of 5. Wait, no, 9 out of 10 players, right? And it says like in it like warming up or pregame or something like that. You know, like there's something to let you know that it's still in a free for all deathmatch lobby. And then you would be able to peruse which lobby you join. That's my one nitpick. And I the next point is why I'm fairly confident that it's not going to be added, at least yet, but I'm going to nitpick it anyway. So.
I might have little to say for this point, just because I'm not much of a ranked player, like at all. Spoilers. Um, but so there will be an ELO ranking system and some form of skill-based matchmaking. With the as big as the player base is, as close as best as you can get it. Um, but someone new avoiding like one of the best players in the game or something like that. So I mean, I guess I can sort of talk on this, but I feel like this is more of a competitive, like ranked kind of discussion for this part.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's kind of interesting how the Elo's system is going to work out because the game is small and it depends largely on how well the marketing does to onboard new players during the beta.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think overall very positive, because one of the worst feelings whenever you play any new game is, excuse me, good lord, is hopping into a new game and then you just get pub stomped for 10 games in a row, and you're like, all right, I don't really want to get pub stomped anymore, so you quit, right?
Yeah.
And that, I think, this is pretty much the only goal with the CLO ranking system. It'll be like, another thing will be interesting is how that new player onboarding process goes, because I assume that there will be some sort of tutorial required when we're going through these beta phases, right? So like create a new account, you have to do a tutorial of some sort. I would also probably encourage playing bot games a little bit, just so that they can get a full feel of the actual game mode without having to play with new players. And you can even do like co-op bot games. I think League of Legends does that, where you play with 5 players on your team against 5 bots. But yeah, I mean, I think pretty much as long as this elo ranking system stops players like me from playing with a player that just started playing today, it's done its job. I don't really think it needs to do anything more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with everything you just said. But also to the point for bot games is I feel like the game. Okay, I don't. I was going to say maybe it should usher newer players into a bot game or two to get a feel for the game before actually playing with actual players. But again, I don't know how viable that is
Yeah.
necessarily, and I'm really struggling on how to word this out in my head before I word it out of my mouth. So I think it could be good, but there is a part of me that feels like it isn't the right call. I can't explain why. I'm stupid. Next point.
I mean, no, I think not that I necessarily like agree with you, but I can understand like it's frustrating. Like I didn't like playing the bot games in League, right? But it's required. Like it's one of the requirements to play with normal people is you have to play X amount of bot games, or at least it was when I played
Yeah,
or
I mean, it
started
was
playing.
when I played, but then granted, that was
Yeah,
like a decade ago.
yeah, exactly. I don't remember what I made my count. Yeah, I think like it. I don't know if little mini panda tangent here if I had infinite resources and I was going to figure out like how to do this, I would essentially make it so that 50% of your new players were required to play bot games and then 50% of your new players were not required to play bot games and then just keep track of the data between how many people actually completed the bot games, right? How many people continued to play, how many games after they continue to play. And then given some sample size, you can decide whether or not bot games are worth forcing new players to play versus not worth forcing new players to play. And it also like bot games, I think, kind of depend on how good the tutorial is. Because if the
Yes.
tutorial is very good at explaining the game mode succinctly and easy to digest, which I think it could be if it's well
Mhm.
designed, then yeah, I mean, bot games are less important. But if you just throw somebody in that's like WASD to move, space to jump, control to dash, or whatever the dodge button is, what I meant to say, um, then like yeah, you probably want people to be in bot games so that they can actually know what they're doing. Um, so yeah, I mean, it just depends. Like a lot of this stuff, it just depends.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is pretty much just, it depends.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of, we just need to wait and see what they do. Um, and I mean, I agree with just everything you're saying in that regard. But again, it just kind of depends. And I do believe that uh, the devs have talked about implementing a tutorial, but I
Yeah.
don't know what the progress on that is or,
Yeah.
whatever. So,
I don't either. I also do know though that there's some sort of tutorial that is being planned / worked on.
yeah.
So
And on to the last point. Out of game progression on top of ranked, earning currency and purchasable cosmetics. Um, this, along with the elo system, gives more of a reason to play the game outside of just for fun or for testing, which is good. There are the weird people, myself, that play because they enjoy the game and don't really care for progression or anything. Again, hello, I'm a weird person. But there are those, I feel like the majority of players for this kind of genre of game that play to increase their rank, play to unlock every character. They have something that they're trying to progress towards, and that's what keeps them playing. What keeps them coming back.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, my mind has been corrupted. I used to be a simple gamer like you, Desmeric, who did not care for the woes and joys of cosmetics and progression.
the
And I have since
woes.
succumbed I've since succumbed to my inner demon and yeah, I mean I get the little dopamine burst whenever you complete a battle pass tier or whenever you realize you have enough points to buy your new skin, right? Or you unlock a new title. Like it it just feels good as a player to feel like you're making some sort of progress, even if it's not meaningful, right? Like even when like Overwatch had loot boxes, like it just felt good to like, oh, I got a loot box after that game. I'm gonna open it, right? Just like the little dopamine hits is really just how you keep people playing your game. And a lot of times those dopamine hits don't have to come from being like good at the game or even playing the game. It can come from stuff outside of the game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't speak too much on this point. And these last 2 points, I have very little to say because I'm like, I mean, not to say I don't care about these things, but I don't care about these
But
things.
yeah.
Like,
It's not relevant to you.
yeah.
I
So,
mean
but
for the
they're
go
not
ahead.
relevant to me. But I do think they are important to have.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
just because it doesn't really matter to me doesn't mean wouldn't matter to other people. Which fuck me. What do I know? Like, don't care about me. You go for the majority, and the majority of people care about like a ranking system, skill based matchmaking, and okay,
Yeah.
I care a little bit about skill based matchmaking, but for like grinding my rank, trying to like complete the battle pass or something, like sure those would be nice, but I play the game because I enjoy the game, and I'll
Right.
stop playing
If you
when
don't
I'm
enjoy
like, hey, I need a break, but I'll still come back to it because I'm like, this game is dope.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just because it just doesn't suit me doesn't mean it doesn't suit everybody else. I do think these are important things to have.
Yeah. I think obviously for me the biggest one is a ranked mode.
Yeah.
Because I'm a ranked grinder. I want to see my little thing go up, and I get really really sad when it goes down. When I check my matchmaking page and it's all red because I'm on a 20 game losing streak, I'll be tragic. I'll just keep tilt
Ugh.
queuing because it's okay if we, if you throw some elo. But yeah,
I said
yeah.
some salt behind that. It's fine if we throw some elo. Yeah, sure, whatever, dude. Fuck it.
Yeah, I've had some ranked experiences. Okay. But I will say I do not. I should not a blanket statement. I typically do not play games where there is not some sort of ranks. I honestly just don't care. Like when Legends of Runeterra, the card game, recently announced that they were cutting like costs and stuff. One of the things that they're cutting is the ranked / like competitive system, and it's still gonna exist and it's still playable, but it just killed all my motivation to play the game.
Interesting. Because I didn't know
So
about that.
yeah, I'm just very much I'm a competitive gamer. I want to be good at games, and if you don't have that, I'm unlikely to play your game. So very excited for ranked primarily, and so that I can beat Arrow at number 1.
Like, I have a slight exception to this with like card games. I still don't think I'm competitive, like necessarily a competitive player, but like I play. I've gone to like regionals and stuff for card games, right? Mostly because I'm traveling with friends and I'm having a good time.
Yeah, it's a
But
social experience or social event on
yeah,
top of a competitive event.
exactly. And it's like I'm going because it's like, yeah, my friends are going. Yeah, I'll go too. Like
Yeah.
there was actually an event that was here in town for another card game I played that if it wasn't in town, I wouldn't have gone. Like it was downtown. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm fucking in. It's like, yeah, sure, why not? And then I bubbled out of Top Cut, and I was like, man, so this is what it feels like. But
Wrecked.
yeah, kinda. But yeah, just for card games, it's a little different for me. But like with online gaming, like with Valorant, with or eventually Reven Blade, like I just don't care that much for a rank or to really. Maybe I want to be good just to kind of just have the self improvement, but like I don't want to shoot for fucking ascendant diamond chocolatey fudge crystal. I don't want to shoot for the high rank because I don't give a shit. But
Bless you. Bless your soul, Des. Must be nice.
Must be nice.
Dude.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Let's just say that I was Ascendant in Valorant, and I'm not anymore, and I haven't played Valorant recently.
The only time I play ranked is like when I'm playing Apex with my brother, and he will not play unranked. He always plays ranked.
Right.
It's like that's the only time I play ranked is when I'm dragged into it. I'm like, yeah okay, whatever. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for the steps to beta, and pretty much the episode of the Reven Cast.
Yeah.
We went on for a lot longer than I was expecting us to. So
Yeah, it was a solid episode.
yeah,
40 minutes.
a good amount of information, some scuffness, but that's to be had here.
Yeah. It's our brand at this point.
The scuffed cast.
Yeah, until there's a polished Reven Blade podcast that comes out, doesn't matter. All right.
You have no idea how much I'm like breaking myself to make sure this is as good as possible. I am a perfectionist, and God, when something is wrong, I'm just like, fuck, why?
You're doing great, though.
But yeah, that is it for today's episode of the Reven Cast. Not sure when the next one will be, but I mean, hey, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Or hey, also follow me on Twitch, because we do stream these live on Twitch. Twitch.tv/actualdez. Love to see you. Love to have you. Also, join the Patreon. Join the Patreon. Be a patron. Be cool today. You were going to say something, Panda?
No, I was going to say yeah. I'm just saying yeah and nodding right now. I'm agreeing with everything you say.
Yeah, I mean, all this is just for YouTube. But yeah, become a patron. I'll have all the links and stuff down below in the description. And then possibly a card up top for a video if I don't know if I remember or feel like it. But yeah, this has been the Reven Cast, and we will see you guys next time.
See y'all.